peaceful bedroom in a small house on Willow Drive suddenly turned into the scene of an unimaginable family tragedy. A mother-in-law and her son-in-law were found dead, both naked, leaving unanswered questions in the horrified eyes of a pregnant wife. As investigators unraveled the relationships and examined every clue at the scene, a dark truth emerged: a calculated murder disguised as a double suicide. Behind it all lay resentment, hidden secrets from the past, and a cold-blooded plan leading to an ending no one could have anticipated. Part 1. The crime scene. Scene description. Located in a tranquil residential area of Greenfield, the two-story house at 42 Willow Drive became the center of attention after a night of unsettling events. By morning, the house was cordoned off by police, surrounded by dozens of curious and anxious onlookers. In a small town where everyone knew each other, the mysterious deaths of two family members spread like wildfire, accompanied by chilling rumors. The crime scene was discovered on the second floor, in a small bedroom with a window overlooking the street. Once a place of rest, the room now exuded a chilling and unnerving atmosphere. A double bed in the center of the room held the two lifeless bodies. The woman, later identified as Martha Williams, 46, was lying on the left side of the bed. Beside her was Jacob Miller, 29, her son-in-law. Both victims were found naked, pale-faced, and without any visible signs of physical violence. On the dressing table near the bed, an open bottle of sleeping pills was found alongside two glass tumblers. The bedside lamp remained on, casting a dim yellow glow that heightened the oppressive mood in the room. The most striking detail was the state of disarray in the room. A thin blanket had been pulled off the bed and lay on the floor. The pillows showed signs of being crumpled. A chair in the corner of the room was overturned, with strands of long hair, presumably belonging to one of the victims, clinging to its leg. The wardrobe door was ajar, and its contents appeared as though someone had hurriedly rummaged through them. On the carpet near the foot of the bed, forensic teams noted faint footprints. These prints didn't match the shoe sizes of any family members. Another puzzling detail was the bedroom door. While it wasn't locked, the doorknob bore an unidentified fingerprint. Other personal items, including Jacob's phone, were found intact. However, the phone screen displayed an unfinished call at approximately 1:15 a.m. There were no clear signs of forced entry, though the curtain was oddly skewed, partially revealing a view of the garden below. A neighbor, Linda Collins, told the police she heard hurried footsteps around a.m. They thought it was just the wind or someone coming home late, she said, her voice trembling. But looking back, something felt off. The ground floor of the house remained undisturbed. The kitchen, living room, and hallway were pristine, as if the chaos upstairs hadn't extended to the rest of the home. However, the eerie silence within the house added an unsettling edge, making one shiver even under the morning sunlight. Given the initial evidence, Detective Mark Turner, leading the investigation, remarked that the case was far from straightforward. We're not just dealing with two bodies, but also a slew of unanswered questions. Was this a double suicide? Or was a third party involved? Why were they together here at that time? Turner mused, his eyes scanning the room as though searching for the smallest overlooked detail. As forensic teams continued gathering evidence, one pressing question loomed. What really happened in that room on the fateful night? Was this a family tragedy, or the result of a calculated murder? With few definitive clues, this case promised to be a daunting puzzle for the investigation team. Standing in the doorway of the room, Detective Turner glanced at the empty space between the two bodies and thought to himself, "We need to leave no stone unturned in this house." Every detail could be a vital piece of the puzzle. Behind him, the worried and curious eyes of the neighborhood watched, waiting for the truth to surface. Part 2. Victim identification and investigation process. The identities of the two victims were quickly confirmed through information provided by the pregnant wife, Sophie Miller, and records from the investigative team. The female victim, Martha Williams, 46, was the mother-in-law of Jacob Miller, 29, the male victim. Sophie, Jacob's wife, recounted that her mother had recently moved in with them to help during her pregnancy, after finalizing her divorce from Sophie's father. Martha was known as a strong and independent woman. After her divorce, she decided to relocate to Greenfield to be closer to her daughter and prepare to support her during the last months of pregnancy. My mother loved me dearly. I can't understand why she would have been in the room with Jacob at that hour, Sophie tearfully told investigators during her first interview. Jacob Miller, the male victim, was a software engineer working for a local tech firm. Neighbors described him as a quiet and considerate man who was particularly attentive to his pregnant wife. The sudden loss of Jacob in such mysterious circumstances shocked everyone who knew the couple. Detective Turner convened a meeting at the Greenfield Police Department to analyze the evidence collected so far. The clues at the scene were insufficient for any definitive conclusions, but revealed contradictions that demanded answers. Jacob's phone became the first critical piece of evidence. Call logs showed that he made a brief call lasting less than 10 seconds at 1:15 a.m., just before his death. The call was terminated without response. The recipient of the call was an unknown number, later traced to Michael Carter, a 52-year-old man who was an old friend of Martha's from college. A forensic report confirmed that both victims died from asphyxiation. Marks on their necks suggested strong pressure, but no use of a weapon or other suffocating device. Interestingly, traces of a mild sedative, commonly prescribed for sleep aid, were found in both victims' systems. This drug wouldn't kill them in normal doses. Someone used it to weaken them, then committed the crime, a forensic expert explained. As scientific evidence emerged, investigators began delving into the relationships between the victims. Why were a mother-in-law and her son-in-law in the same bedroom in the middle of the night? Was this a coincidence, or was there a hidden connection yet to be uncovered? Sophie's account only deepened the mystery. She claimed to have no idea why her mother was in Jacob's room at that time. I went to bed early because I was tired. When I woke up, I heard noises upstairs, but I thought Jacob was just helping my mom prepare her things for the next day, she sobbed. Turner split his team into two groups to handle the case. One group focused on analyzing physical evidence, such as fingerprints and the unidentified footprints. The other group investigated the victim's social relationships to identify any unusual behavior or hidden motives. A key detail from Sophie caught investigators' attention. Martha had met with a stranger at a town cafe the day before the murders. While Sophie didn't know the man, her mother seemed tense after the meeting. Police reviewed security footage from the cafe and identified the man as Michael Carter. With evidence starting to connect, Detective Turner suspected this case was far more complex than it first appeared. Part 3: Suspects and Key Evidence. The investigation reached a critical stage as detectives began narrowing down the list of suspects. While there were no signs of forced entry, the evidence at the scene and the victims' complex relationships pointed to the involvement of a third party. Michael Carter, the old friend with a shadowy past. Michael Carter, a longtime friend of Martha Williams, quickly became a person of interest. His number was the recipient of a brief call from Jacob at 1:15 a.m., right before Jacob's death. Turner immediately summoned Michael for questioning. Michael admitted to meeting Martha at a cafe in downtown Greenfield the day before the incident, but denied any involvement in the deaths. "We only talked about life and the past. I have no idea what happened afterward," Michael claimed, though his evasive tone didn't escape Turner's notice. A further detail raised more suspicion about Michael: the jacket he wore during his meeting with Martha. Fibers from the jacket matched material found near Jacob's body. While not definitive evidence, this discovery placed Michael in a precarious position. What puzzled Turner was Michael's motive. Was this encounter truly a coincidence, or did something happen to make him lose control? Turner wondered. The team delved deeper into Michael's history with Martha, searching for a clearer motive. Daniel Williams, the suspicious ex-husband, while Michael was closely monitored, Martha's ex-husband, Daniel Williams, also remained under scrutiny. Daniel had a troubled history with Martha, especially after their divorce. Sophie disclosed that her father was upset about Martha moving in with their family. Financial records revealed that Daniel was in severe debt. Recently, He had sold a significant piece of property, but had failed to clear his obligations. Turner believed this could be a motive for Daniel to reclaim assets shared with Martha. A neighbor, Richard Clark, reported seeing a black car resembling Daniel's in the area around 1:00 a.m. on the night of the murders. However, traffic cameras near the house failed to capture any identifiable images of the vehicle, leaving this lead inconclusive. When Turner confronted Daniel, he denied being at the scene. "I was at home watching TV. No one was with me, but it's the truth," Daniel insisted. Despite his weak alibi, Turner lacked the evidence needed to directly implicate him. Family tensions, Sophie and Jacob. Investigators also turned their attention to tensions within the family. Sophie revealed that the relationship between her mother and Jacob wasn't as harmonious as it seemed. Martha often criticized Jacob, accusing him of being inattentive to Sophie during her pregnancy. One discovery stood out: an unsent text message from Jacob's phone. Written around 10:00 p.m., it read, "We need to talk. This can't go on. Who was this message intended for, and what was it about?" Turner began questioning Sophie's statements. Although she repeatedly denied knowing why her mother was in Jacob's room that night, her account seemed to lack clarity. Was she hiding something, or was she simply overwhelmed by grief? Fingerprint analysis revealed a significant detail. In addition to prints from the victims, an unknown set of prints matched Michael Carter's records. This placed Michael directly at the scene. Footprints found on the carpet were size 11, matching Michael's shoe size. While this strengthened the case against him, Turner remained cautious. "We can't conclude guilt based solely on presence. We need more definitive proof." As the evidence accumulated, a complex picture began to emerge. Michael had undeniable links to the scene, questionable motives, and signs of a prior relationship with Martha. Daniel had financial struggles, a history of resentment toward Martha, and suspicious activity on the night of the murders. Detective Turner stared at the evidence board in the precinct, connecting the dots between suspects and victims. "We have motives, opportunities, and inconsistencies," Turner said. "But we're missing one thing: a confession or irrefutable evidence." With the investigation nearing its conclusion, Turner decided to lay a trap to force the perpetrator into the open. The final showdown was about to begin. Part 4: The Capture, Revelation, and Case. The investigation reached its climax as Detective Turner and his team launched a final effort to uncover the truth. With mounting evidence pointing toward both Michael Carter and Daniel Williams, Turner devised a plan to push the guilty party into making a mistake. The police leaked a statement to the press, falsely claiming that they had retrieved new surveillance footage from the night of the murders. This evidence, supposedly showing the perpetrator entering and leaving the house, was a calculated move to provoke the suspect. Michael, visibly shaken after hearing the news, immediately contacted Daniel. Surveillance on Michael picked up a secret meeting between the two men at a nearby cafe. Audio recordings from a hidden microphone in Michael's car revealed a chilling exchange. "If they find the real footage, it's over. We need to act fast," Michael said. Daniel, more composed, responded, "Relax. They don't have enough. Just keep your mouth shut, and we'll be fine." This conversation confirmed that both men were involved in the crime, but their exact roles were still unclear. Based on this new evidence, Turner decided to arrest Michael first. Under intense interrogation, Michael initially denied any involvement. However, when confronted with the audio recordings and matching fibers found on Jacob's body, Michael broke down. He admitted to being at the scene on the night of the murders, but claimed that Daniel was the mastermind. According to Michael, Daniel had coerced him into helping stage the scene to look like a double suicide after Daniel killed Martha and Jacob in a fit of rage. "I didn't kill anyone," Michael insisted. "I was there, but it was Daniel who lost control." Armed with Michael's confession and the evidence tying him to the scene, Turner turned his attention to Daniel. When confronted with the recordings of his conversation with Michael, Daniel's calm demeanor began to crack. "Yes, I went there that night," Daniel finally admitted. "Martha and I argued about money. She wouldn't listen. When Jacob got involved, things escalated. I didn't mean for it to happen, but I had to make it look like something else. Turner pressed him further, and Daniel confessed to strangling both Martha and Jacob in a fit of rage. He then forced Michael to assist in staging the scene. The investigation concluded that Daniel, driven by financial desperation and lingering resentment toward Martha, orchestrated the murders. Michael, though complicit in the cover-up, played no direct role in the killings. Daniel was charged with first-degree murder, while Michael faced charges of obstruction of justice and evidence tampering. Sophie, though uninvolved in the crime, was left to grapple with the devastating loss of her mother and husband in a single night. As Turner reflected on the case, he remarked, "This wasn't just about money. It was about hatred, jealousy, and the dark secrets we hide from the world. If only someone had chosen to stop, things could have been different." The house on Willow Drive remained a haunting reminder of the tragedy. Its quiet walls now carried the weight of a story that would stay with the town of Greenfield for years to come. And so, the chilling truth behind the tragedy on Willow Drive finally came to light, a story of secrets, betrayal, and irreversible choices. The peaceful facade of a small-town home was shattered forever, leaving behind unanswered questions for those who knew the family. Could this tragedy have been avoided? Were the warning signs ignored, or were they simply too well hidden? Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about this case? Was justice served, or do you feel there's more to the story? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's discuss together. If you found this story compelling and want to see more in-depth coverage of mysterious cases like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your support helps us bring these stories to life and keeps the conversation going, bringing you the stories that make you question everything. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.